What's going on, everybody? This is the first episode. Welcome to the first episode of the Healers and Headliners podcast. It's a video podcast. I'm glad to bring it to you guys. My name is Christian John Youssef. For those who don't know me, I have another podcast. It's called the Lower Middle East Side Podcast. But the reason I'm making this is because I myself am a physician and an aspiring stand-up comedian. And I found that there's a common denominator between the two professions, and that is that there's a healing aspect to both. And I realized that there's a lot of professions that are loosely bound the same way, that they're just basically, they have the common denominator of making the human experience a better place. And that's why I have a really, really special guest. I'm very honored to have my first guest. I knocked it out of the park getting this first guest of mine, Mr. Wil Sylvince. If you don't know him, geez, you should know him, and you'll know him after this interview. Will, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. I want to know who canceled.
Yeah, right. You were my first choice, man.
Who else was on the list? Like, nope.
That did not happen.
Number 27 is.
Before we get into anything, I'm just going to tell everybody up front a couple of the places that you've been featured on in entertainment. You've been seen on Comedy Central. You've been seen on HBO. You've been seen. Where else have you been seen? You've been.
I don't think anybody cares about that stuff.
Oh man, well they hear these things and then they care. But I mean, I personally came to know you because I'm at the Comedy Cellar very frequently. You know, I'm fortunate enough to be a New Yorker, so I'm there a lot. And
that's a great place.
It is a great place. I've seen
you
kill.
Great place of comedy, great place of, anything.
Yeah, I've seen you open a show. I've seen you in the middle of the show. I've seen you close the show. I've seen you all around, and you're super versatile. And not only are you a comedian, you're a filmmaker. And
I'm not a physician like you are.
That's nothing, man. That compared to what you're doing, I mean, and that's what I'm really hoping to get into the heart of today. I was an engineer. I used to build robots, but still not a physician. Really? You were?
Yeah, I studied electromechanical engineering, and then I got me a job at this company called International Robotics, and I used to build, fix, and repair robots.
I had no idea. It doesn't surprise me because you're a genius, but.
Yeah. What, this outfit tells you that?
Well, I mean, listen, yeah, pretty much. I think all geniuses dress down. They know better than to waste their time.
I don't know about all that.
But I don't know, but that's cool. How long did you do that for?
I got that job, I think I was there like 10 years.
10 years, geez.
Yeah.
And then you gave that up to do comedy full time?
Close to under 10 years. Yep. My boss had this, he was the one that kind of like introduced me to comedy, and then like he just, cause my parents were very strict. So he gave me like some CDs and tapes, and then he encouraged me to like pursue it. And then he gave me like keys to the shop, and he just said, hey, look, just come in when you want, just do the work order. But then, cause I was doing shows at night. So it's hard for me to do a 9 to 5 and then do shows at night. I'll be tired. So usually after my shows, I go straight to the shop and work on the robots.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then eventually I quit because someone told me this quote, or I'm not sure is it their quote or someone's quote, but as long as you have a safety net, you'll never take chances in what you want to do.
So it's sort of a bad thing, having that job.
Yeah,
that was your safety net.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I understand. I got you. All right, I want to go into depth with this, but before we do, I was watching the Whitney Cummings podcast that she has, and she does this thing where she plugs up front. So I wanted to talk a little bit first while we're at the beginning of this, and then we can go in other directions and then come back to it if we can. But you're right now in the process of producing or making a movie. Am I correct?
Yep.
All right. And it's called I Am Maurice?
Yes. It's about a Haitian boxer that comes to New York City to pursue his love for boxing. Me and my partner Brian Kennedy, we wrote like close to 9 films already, but this is the one that we're like putting out, trying to get out there to be our first film.
Okay,
and I'm
that's
playing the boxer.
and you're playing the boxer. Yeah, I saw the trailer. The trailer was really unbelievable. I've seen a billion trailers just like everybody else, but this trailer was like super awesome. So there is a GoFundMe for this.
Oh yeah, GoFundMe.com/I am Maurice.
GoFundMe.com.
By the way, for people out there, it's a drama. Just like this podcast so far. Nothing funny been said, but
so right. So this is, yeah, but it's compelling nonetheless. Like, it's, when we say drama, it's like, it's not, it doesn't seem depressing at all. It seems pretty compelling.
Yeah, in fact, like out of the 9 films, I think only 3 of them are comedy. You know, and I get people like, you know, why you, as a comedian, why you write more drama than comedy? I feel like comedy always start out as drama, like it's we take a very serious thing, we make it funny. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. So with the films, I just keep them as drama because I just like them as is, instead of, you know, trying to make them funny.
Okay.
But, you know, most comedy starts from drama.
Most comedy start from drama, yeah. So the importance of the GoFundMe, I mean, like when we say to donate, I just want people to understand, and that's like another reason, like I'm doing this show, like a platform, to sort of highlight what goes into like art, like the art form that the person is going. So like in order to produce a film or make a film, there must be so much work that goes into it. Like, we're in an age where we're just consuming so much. We have Netflix, we have Hulu. People can just turn some on, watch it, and then next and next and next. But like, to actually make it, there's so much work that goes into it. And there's just to be able to have to raise all of that money to make the product that we consume is probably an uphill battle. So it really is important to donate and to like,
yeah. And then, right? I mean, there's so many different, you know, obstacles. Like, besides, once we get the money, then had to do the best casting, location, you know, lighting, sound, then the editing. So there's so many steps before we get to the final thing, you know. But raising the money is the main thing.
Yeah, so it's really important. So I just want, you know, people to understand that, like, it really is an important thing, and that GoFundMe is really important. And when you see the trailer, you'll understand, like, this is going to be really, really, really an awesome film. So we'll come back to what it's about later if you want. I wanted to talk a little bit about you first, if that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, he's not much, but go ahead.
No, there's a lot I would love to get into. So, all right, so let's go back to what we were saying before. So you got into comedy. So you said your boss introduced you to it, and then so like what from there? How did you decide, like, in yourself, you wanted to do this?
Yeah, you know, since I was, I think as far back as like when I was like probably 7 years old or 6, I always knew like comedy was like, I remember like as a kid, laughing and eating was 2 of the best things in life. And then I got older, laughing, eating, and orgasming was the 3 best things in life. Like, if we could go to a place where we could do all 3 things.
Yeah.
So comedy was a thing. Like, I just remember like some of the best moments most of us remember is laughing with our friends and family members and having a good time, you know. And then so comedy was like, man, I would love to do it. And then I started seeing some, you know, like Richard Pryor, Murphy, Damon Wayans, like some great comics, like killing it. And I used to dream about me doing it, but you ever have a dream, but you don't have the words, just you on stage and people laughing and.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask you. Did you have an idea before doing comedy of what you wanted to say to the world before doing it, or did you kind of figure that out as you went along?
Yeah, comedy, man, is one of those things where the stage kind of molds you. Like everybody's different. I know with me, like I just had to get on stage to get over that scary feeling of being on stage, and then you just let the stage, you know, mold you, and then what matters. Then later on, what matters the most to you, what you want to talk about, you know.
Yeah, you seem
I'm sorry I don't
to.
have any smart answers.
Huh? No, no. I mean, you're you're pretty versatile. I've seen a lot of your stand up, and I mean, from what I've seen at the Cellar versus what I've seen online too, you definitely changed it up here and there. Like I've seen some of your. I saw a bit where you did the Black Hulk.
Oh yeah.
You get animated. You get really into it.
Yeah, my animation comes from I used to like not really talk clearly, so my words were like people couldn't really understand. So I would be more physical, like all right, and he opened the door and then he pushed the car out the way, and so at least if you didn't understand what I'm saying, you could see what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but it was. I don't feel like it was just physical comedy only. I mean, there were concepts that were like brilliant concepts. They were like hilarious.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no, that's like awesome. So, and you're Haitian American, correct?
Yep.
Is comedy like is that what's the word in the Haitian culture? Is it prominent?
No, you mean it's accepted? Not when I was coming up. No, in my house, my dad and my mom was like, you have to go to school, get a good job, and that was your life. So I had to do comedy behind my parents' back, and so it was going good for a while, and then I landed a gig on television, and then my mother saw it. I didn't think, my brother was like, "Yo, Mom, I saw you on TV," and I was so scared, and first of all, the Apollo came on like at 1:00 in the morning.
Your TV performance was at the Apollo.
Yeah, but it came on at 1:00 in the morning. My mother would be in bed by 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And if she was up, she's not up watching that show. She's up listening to like country music or Haitian channel.
Yeah.
In Haiti. And so I come home, and in the living room, she'd have like 8 of her friends sitting down, they talking. And then when I walked in, they all stopped talking and they just looked at me. And one of them go, "Is that the comedian there?"
Oh, shit.
And then they just all started laughing. Then I found out that, once you're on TV, Haitian parents accept you, or my Haitian parents.
Is there stand-up comedy in Haiti?
Yeah. In fact, I did a few shows. I did a few shows in like 2006. Then after the earthquake, I did a show called Stand Up for Haiti to help raise money to all the Haitians that got affected by the earthquake.
How prominent is it in Haiti, stand-up? Is it like popular, or is it kind of just coming up?
It's coming up, man. It's coming up. They have a lot more shows than you would think. It's sad that the media just show the bad parts in Haiti. There's like a lot of beautiful places and people, and the food is amazing. So I would like to expose that part of Haiti, like, and invite people to come and visit and see these things and discover a whole new side of Haiti that most media doesn't show you.
Yeah, I don't know much. I'm hearing oh, okay. I thought I was hearing echo. I don't know much about the Haitian culture, admittedly. But I do. But I do have a lot of Haitian friends in terms of like coworkers.
Oh, I thought you were about to say my best friend. They say that. Come on, you don't have to try to bomb me that way.
No.
My best friend is Haitian.
I have a lot of Haitian coworkers because they work.
You work for a taxi cab company?
No. There a lot of them
work
work
at a hospital.
In a hospital, exactly. A lot of them work in hospitals.
A lot of Caribbean people, not just Haitian. A lot of Caribbean people, man. They're on the front lines, man. By the way.
Yeah, and they do like amazing work. A lot of them work with the nurses. They're a lot of them are nurses, and a lot of them work with nurses. They're certified nursing assistants.
Yeah.
And
doctors as well. Yeah, man. They never get a lot of love, but they, during this pandemic, they're like on the front lines and they helping the people out.
Yeah.
Helping us, get to this chapter.
Yeah, they're just like really, really loving people. And there was one lady in the old hospital I worked at in Suffolk County, and she was like my mother at the hospital. Like I would just go to her for any advice that I needed. She was like a devout Christian, and anytime I needed advice, she would give me advice. She was always so nice, and she'd pray with me too.
Oh, so, yeah, we've been on praying.
Are you from a religious background?
Yeah, I was born Catholic, and I was really, really into it when I was younger. I kind of fade out. I still believe in God, but I just don't. I'm not a religion. I'm not into religion.
But you hold to your
But
faith sort of
I'm
thing.
more spiritual, huh?
Okay, but you have like you kind of hold to your faith sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed on your Instagram, like in the bio section, it says God on it. I think it says like God and family or something like that.
Yeah. Like God, family, friends, and
Yeah. And
comedy.
then also in the trailer of I Am Maurice, I noticed there was like a couple of frames where you see him praying at the altar.
Oh yeah. Just to insert some. The film is really about my life, like like just some quick examples, like my trainer is, so the movie's a fiction, but it's non-fiction. The characters are non-fiction, if that makes sense. So
Hmm.
the trainer is like my real trainer in my real life.
He is your actual trainer in real
He
life?
is my actual trainer, yeah.
Okay.
Maurice comes from my dad. That's my dad's name, Maurice. And just like the character in the movie, he came from Haiti. My dad came from Haiti with nothing and made his entire life by working really hard. Uh,
Wow.
you know, Raul is Frank's brother in the movie, which is also Frank's brother in real life. So yeah.
Well, I watched the trailer a couple of times because the second, I think like two or three times, the second or third time, I was looking to see were there any words in the trailer, and I don't remember any being used.
Yeah, we just didn't want to give away the idea, and the story idea, and plus we just to show that acting is pretty tough, and see if I could pull it off without any words and tell a story with just
Yeah, and
images and
you more than pulled it off. I mean, that's what was another thing on its own that kind of was so compelling that you told the whole story, zero words. I mean, it showed him waking up under a bridge, homeless, holding his can of uh, coins, and then like there was another scene where I think he was on the subway and there was a girl that he had eye contact with or something. I think she cracked a smile at him. There seemed to be a
yeah,
moment between him and a girl.
yeah. They'll
So
see
there,
it.
yeah, I mean, it was just such a cool thing, and no words were used in the whole trailer. I never really saw a trailer like that, but it was really, really
Thanks.
cool to see. So, and then I think I heard you say somewhere else that Patrice is the name, right? Of
Oh, Patrice. Patrice is one of the names in the movie. You talking about?
yeah.
Yeah. In the movie, that's Maurice's best friend. Also in my real life, Patrice used to be my best friend before he passed away.
Would you? And that
And
was Patrice O'Neal, right?
Patrice O'Neal, yeah. Shout out to
Would,
Patrice O'Neal.
shout out to Patrice O'Neal. Could we talk about him for a second? Would you mind?
Yeah. We was roommates for like 7 years
That's crazy. How did you guys meet?
through comedy. That's where I meet
Really?
everybody now in my day. And
Do you
in my
remember?
life.
Do you remember the first time you met him?
I actually met him in Boston. I did a show in Boston at the Comedy Connection, and he was a security guard. And he told me he was a fan. I was like, hey, I like your comedy. His word's not a fan, but he said, I like your comedy, pretty funny. I said, oh, thanks. And then I came up with, he said he wanted to be a comedian, but later on when he came to New York, I remembered him from doing security at the Comedy Connection.
So you were doing comedy prior to him,
Yeah.
and then he came to New York, and you remembered him.
Yeah. I mean, Patrice is a big dude. You
Yeah.
remember him.
That's cool. Yeah,
He could be a librarian, like, oh shit, all right.
That's,
You're gonna
he
know
was a
Patrice.
legend. He was a legend. I mean, listening to him, he was one of the best parts of listening to the Opie and Anthony show. Like going to his benefit every year is like a highlight of January. You know, I think it's January, February. I can't remember. I think it's January actually.
Yeah, January, but I think they did it in February this year for the first time.
Yeah, it's just like so he was such a legend, and that's amazing. You had 7 years of being his roommate, and I'm sure it was equally as amazing for him to be roommates with you. So that's pretty
we had
cool.
a good time, man. Just just listen to his words, his thoughts, his philosophy on things. Patrice thought about things a lot before he had a good that's a good like philosophy or on things before he just said them. And then also like when he was wrong, he would update his scriptures.
Yeah. I think you have a picture, I think, on your Instagram. I clearly stalked your Instagram.
Yeah, it's fine.
Where I think he quoted him saying something about like be true to yourself without how does the rest of it go? I can't remember.
Oh,
Be
I
true
can't
to yourself
remember.
without hurting others or something like that. But it was like a nice.
Yeah, he got a gang of quotes, man.
Yeah. That's awesome. And
Yeah.
actually I listened to an Open Anthony where it was after he passed away. I think they had his mom come on.
Oh, yes.
And she was
Miss
pretty
O'Neal.
funny.
Miss O'Neal is funny.
She was pretty funny
She was
herself.
very funny.
Yeah, she held her own, and she was making Bill Burr laugh and O&A.
In fact, there was a time I was in the car with Patrice, and he was driving. He was on the phone, and he goes, whoever he's talking to, he goes, yeah, no, I didn't eat her pussy because you can't just eat her pussy. I can't just eat her pussy like that. Yeah, but I did suck her titties. All right, I'll talk to you later. I go, yo, who? I was like, who's that, Keith? He said, no, that was my mom. I'm like, that's your mom? And he goes, yeah, dude, my mom is my best friend. I tell her everything.
Oh, damn.
I'm like, whoa. And when he like, I thought I was good friends with my mom.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, never, I would never tell her any, like, I don't think my mom would want to listen to me. First of all, I wouldn't be able to get it out that I was eating some girl out.
That's another level.
Yeah, that's another level of friendship with your mama.
Yeah, that's another level of friendship with your mama. That's hilarious, though.
Yeah.
Jeez. So I'm really excited about the movie I Am Maurice. I'm hoping that you raise the money pretty soon and we get to see that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, me too. I'm more hoping than you're hoping.
Wait, I have a question for you because seriously, man, I really do have this theory that you are some sort of genius. Did you go to school for screenwriting?
No.
Filmmaking?
No, when I decided to I want to start writing films or shorts or whatever, I started watching movies with a different mind frame. I just stopped watching them as to be entertained, but to learn, And I started asking myself, well, why did the director make that choice? Or why did the writer make that choice? Why did they choose these? Are these the writer's words or just the actor's words? Did they ad-lib? So I just every time I watch TV shows, movies, whatever, it's like going to school. And then I just went online, looked up a script and how it was written and what INT, EXT stand for. And I just started, I wrote my first script on my own.
Self-taught.
Yeah, I feel school could be a bunch of BS, a bunch of money wasting, time wasting for certain subjects.
Trades.
I mean, if you want to be a doctor like yourself or engineer or a lawyer, yeah, you have to go to school. But almost everything else, you could go to YouTube University and you'll be fine.
Right.
And I'm not trying to discourage anybody that's going to school, but if you're struggling or and then you're gonna spend all this money in school, finish school, and have this huge debt, and then a lot of people they end up not doing what they went to school for.
Right.
And
that's
so
true.
now they're got all this debt and they work at this job because they get stuck.
That's true. Yeah, but the fact that you taught yourself screenwriting and you're a filmmaker and all that, I mean, and then what was your involvement with the whole Shortcuts Festival? Did you create that?
I created the Shortcut. Yeah, the whole purpose of the Shortcuts Film Festival. I used to do short films, early 2000, 2001, 2002. And I would show the short films and do my short film stand-up. And then I'm like, well, this should be a festival where I could just get other filmmakers to come on board and we invite the industry to check out our work. And then I just started piecing that together. NBC, I spoke to a friend of mine at NBC, Damon Wayans. Shout out to Damon Wayans, who runs she runs her own relationship podcast, and she has like she's like the relationship guru. She could help you out get and fall in love. But she used to work at NBC.
Has she helped you?
Huh?
Has she helped you with your love life?
No. My love life is in the toilet.
Okay.
I should go to her.
All right.
But she brought me in and got NBC to be involved with my film festival. The whole purpose of my film festival was basically to help to get people of color in the industry. So whether you're Black, Chinese, American Indian, Spanish, Puerto Rican, whatever, our voices, our stories never get a lot of light, a lot of attention. So that's the whole purpose of the short, because to tell our stories in a short film and get the industry to check it out. Because a lot of times sometimes these short films go to the industry, a lot of these people are watching it from their cubicle and they don't know. They just and they don't understand. But the point was to get the industry out with the audience so you can see what the audience like and see what they love.
That's it. When did you write your first film or screenplay?
98. I wrote my first short. No, way before that. I wrote my first short in 96 or 7.
You started doing stand-up, what, 92, 93?
Yeah.
And then just a few years later, you started doing screenwriting.
Yeah, but if you think about it, it's just writing and like writing stand-up, writing screenplays, writing books, writing film. It's a different format. You just have to figure out how to format it.
Yeah, but undeniably talented. That's awesome. This is why why I have you on here, man. That's sick. And you were discovered too. I feel like the greats know you, and not just because you're a cool, humble guy, but because you're super talented. What are
I'm just fortunate to be working with these amazing men and women.
You're one of them. I'm fortunate to have you on this podcast. Well, what are some of your fondest memories? You've worked with like all the legends that are household names. To me, you're the same as them. I'm a comedy enthusiast and aspiring comedian, but not a lot of people know. But what are some of your, well, first, before we even get into that, I have a specific question that I don't want to forget to ask you. Did you have some contribution to the Fugees?
Oh, yeah.
What was that?
I did the sketches on the Fugees album, the score.
What
so Wycliffe saw me at a comedy club, and he and I vibe pretty, on the Haitian level, and we clicked. And then one day he just called me. He said, "Yo, why don't you come over to the house and do some sketches on this album we're working on?" I'm like, "Bet, I ain't doing nothing. I was quarantining back then, before quarantine was a thing,
Before it was cool.
So, yeah, he lived in Jersey, so I went out to Jersey, me and some friends, and then he told us what the songs were about. We wrote some ideas, and he had a studio in his basement, and we just put it together, and that was it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That really stood out to me when I was like kind of going through all your stuff. I was like, geez, that's really cool. What are some of your, because I know you roll with Chappelle and all these guys, but what are some of your like fondest memories?
Ooh.
If you had to pick like top 3, are you able to even do that?
Oh,
I don't think for somebody like you can, but what are some of your big 3?
Moments with Patrice, moments with Damon Wayans, moments with Chappelle, moments with.
Can you name any specific moment?
Man, I was really not ready for this question. I just.
What's a moment with Damon Wayans that you had, or what was your most recent moment?
A moment with Damon Wayans. I remember one time I was touring with Damon, and his assistant was in charge of paying me, right? And she forgot. And so, but I didn't give a damn. I was just happy to be on tour with Damon Wayans. You know what I'm saying? Who gives a damn about money and shit? I'm touring with Damon Wayans. That's payment right there.
Yeah.
I think on the 3rd or 4th show, Damon was like, yeah, so you get your money? I said, no, I didn't get my money. He said, what? I said, I didn't want to bother you. He said, an unopened mouth is an unfed mouth. And that's all he said. He walked away. And I was like, well, what do I do with that? And then next thing I got all my money.
He's trying to tell you to speak up, huh?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about Chappelle? Chappelle's your boy. I feel like you were on I saw you as a credit on his most recent, was it on the Sticks and Stones?
Yeah, he didn't have to do that. yeah, he gave me a big credit, man. I mean, Chappelle's like, he's like king now, man. He's like the dog. He's like the voice of the people, through comedy and not comedy. Like he's the truth.
That's your boy from back in the day, though, right?
Yeah. I met Chappelle. I want to say 92, 93.
Wow.
Yeah. He has a story how like when we met, he did a show. He got off stage. Everybody was like, good show, good show. But when he got to me, I said, yo, you want to come to my house and play video games? And then he came over and played video games. But that's not how it went. I was like, we was talking about video games. And I think I mentioned I had that game. We should come, let's go to my place and play it. And that's how it went. But he just made it seem like, yo, what's up? My name is Will. You want to come to my house and play video games?
If you did do that and he went to your house, then that would be even crazier of him.
I mean, we was young back then. We didn't know any better. It was just
that's funny though. That's cool, man. He's got this summer camp thing going on right now that people seem to be ranting and raving about. That's awesome. He just seems to be so cool.
He's laid back. Chappelle's like never see him get mad. Never see him like, he's like, he take things, I'm never good with words.
Yeah. No, you're great. There's one more guy I want to ask you about. What's your relationship like with Dave Chappelle?
Oh, Dave Chappelle. Shout out to Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is my dude. Dave Chappelle, man, his brain is always on. Always on. Like it never, like he needs stuff cause it's kind of, when there's nothing in there, he got to put stuff in there to spit stuff out. Dave Chappelle shoots stuff. He's like a Uzi when he comes and pew, pew. He's so fast, so witty, so smart, and funny as shit. Very funny. Like a lot of times, most of us will throw shit out. 3 out of 10 things will be funny with Attell. 9 out of 10 things will be funny.
Yeah, he is amazing. For anybody who doesn't know him, you got to get on the Dave Chappelle.
Oh man, yeah. Watch this show called Bumping Mics with Dave Chappelle and Jeff Ross.
I was happy to see you on that show.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was the truth.
That was great.
There's so many great comics right now in this era,
Yeah. Do you I'm expecting a diplomatic answer from you, but if you could be as truthful as possible, do you feel like there's a difference between East Coast and West Coast comics, California comedians and New York comedians?
The main difference is just West Coast is just for film or television, whereas East Coast is, they focus a lot on stand-up because it's, but I feel like both comedians, they work very hard at being funny. If that's a thing, they work really hard. There's some comics in LA who just focus on television and just using comedy as a vehicle for television. But there's a lot of great comics over there as well who just want to be a great comedian. I used to think it was mostly New York, but you go out to LA, you'll find a lot of great, hardworking comedians.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever get involved with the stand-up scene out there?
Yeah, I used to go out there every now and then, do the Comedy Store, the Improv, and one of my favorite clubs is Comedy and Magic in Hermoso Beach. I know I just hacked off that name. Hermoso Beach, California. Great, one of my favorite clubs out there.
Why? What makes it so great?
out there running that club. They do a great job.
What makes it so great?
The the staff, the crew.
Oh, okay.
Most of the time, what makes a comedy club great is the staff and the ownership, management, and staff. And like, when all three connect, it just make it a great experience for comedians and for audience members. But when they don't, then it's just a money hungry place that's just out for the money, don't care about the art.
Yeah. Jeez, man. So yeah, I mean, that's crazy. So that's cool, man. I mean, yeah, New York, I feel like New York and California definitely have their own cultures, but that's cool that you've done both things. New York, I feel like a lot of New York comics, maybe comics in general. I should ask you this. Do you subscribe to the notion that, I know you were saying earlier that a lot of comedy starts out as drama. A lot of comics kind of talk about how in order to be funny, there needs to be some sort of trauma in their life, or they had to have toiled with some sort of trauma in their life. I know Seinfeld has said he doesn't really take to that too much, but it does seem to be like a common thing. What's your take on that?
Dude, I've seen so many different types of comedy. That's you could have no trauma, but you have a good imagination or a good writer, you could pull off some really funny show. So it was that probably was a thing, but not necessarily true.
Not necessarily.
It can't. I mean, a lot of some great comics go through that, but not all the time. Like comedy is so variant. I think that's the word, right?
Yeah.
But,
and what about for your personal experience? like, was that an element for you?
no, mine started out, I just had a bag of jokes. I just wanted to be funny. I just want to be able to hang out by the door as people was walking out, say thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
When you don't do a good job, when you bomb, I'm on that first train out of there. I'm in bed before the show is over.
Every time I've been there, you're there after the show doing your thing.
Yeah.
Even helping the staff, which always amazes me.
Thanks, man. But when I started out with just a bag of jokes, and then I started taking it more serious and just started talking about who am I, what am I about, and like I feel like comics who just write jokes, you could run out of stuff, but when you talk about your life, it's like unlimited, because you have so much, that you could watch some comics and be like, wow, you could make that funny. I didn't think you could make that funny.
Yeah, that's totally true. For people who don't really understand the concept or haven't heard of it, how would you describe what it means, like, to find your voice?
That's the toughest thing of comedy. Like, you could be funny, you could be witty, you could be smart, but finding your voice. So Patrice O'Neal gave me the best advice for finding your voice. He said your voice is this voice, the voice that we're talking with now, but with more jokes. So he said that what did he say? Practice being funny off stage, because that's the way you get the most practice.
That's solid.
And then when you get on stage, you already be ready, as opposed to, because most comics use the stage to practice, and that's it. Whereas he was like, the most practice you get is off stage, because that's when you spend most of your life, most of your time.
Yeah.
And you spend this much time on stage and this much time, off stage.
Yeah.
So he said this, you get more practice if you focus on this. And then when you get to this,
How long would you say it took you?
I'm still searching, but I think I kind of got it, but it's still a work in progress.
Man, you are so humble, man. You're like so humble.
No, man, it's the truth, man.
It's hard to take answers like that even seriously. You're like an auteur. You're like this legend, and you're like still looking.
Oh man, you're too kind, man. I don't know about all.
You talk like as though you're like an open micer. You're a legend.
Thank you.
Please, man.
I'm a legend that's jerking off tonight. That's what I am.
That's how legends are made. But so you said something that's actually leads me into my next. You were saying how most of your time is spent off stage, a little bit of time is spent on stage. It's loosely related, but it kind of rang something in my head about how this is unrelated, but it's something I wanted to ask you about. Your journey with weight loss. You had a big journey with weight loss, am I right?
Yeah, yeah. I used to weigh 220 pounds. I was eating a bunch of things, and I thought I was being healthy, but like, I guess I gave up pork and beef at a part of my life, but I was still eating very unhealthy. Like we have the way we want to live in our heads, but we never bring it out. It's always like one day, or working towards that, as opposed to. So I just like, why it can't be now? So I just started making small changes to my diet, life changes, where I just hold on a second.
Sure. So for people who are, kind of missed the first part, this is Wil Sylvince.
I'm back. Sorry.
A legend, and he's making a movie, I Am Maurice, and that you could check out the trailer and check out the GoFundMe link. It's GoFundMe. Can you just say it again one more time? I'm sorry.
GoFundMe.com/I Am Maurice. So what happened was So I live by myself. I get zero company. No one ever comes to see me. And so I heard a knock. I'm like, what the, like, so, but it was someone's, I guess, on the downstairs, it was banging something. So it sounded like it was coming from my door.
Oh, okay.
And so, but also as I'm walking to the door, I'm trying to like creep up so the people on the underside of the door don't hear me and hear me that I'm home. So I'm like, I'm hoping that they don't hear my footsteps. So I look the peephole.
That's exactly.
And it was no one.
Okay. All right.
And it's like one of those moments, man. I hope it's no one.
Yeah, that's right.
Like my heart is racing. Like, who could that be? Like,
do you owe people money?
There goes the noise again.
Oh no.
They really, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on over there, but it's not the door. But I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know anybody mind, but I don't want any company. I don't want any visitors.
Yo, if you need backup, man, I'll be right over.
Oh no, it's not that type of backup. I just,
No. So anyway, so you were saying you were making some lifestyle changes.
Oh yeah. So I changed, it started with, I just changed, started making better choices at the fast food restaurants until I stopped going. I gave up soda. I gave up everything but water and green tea. And then I gave up chicken. Then I gave up dairy. It was a process, but every year I did something,
Are you're still eating like that?
Yeah. But the thing is, like, I don't look at health or diet as a finish. Like, I made it. To me, like, is a never ending searching thing. It's like a marathon that never ends. I'm still searching for healthier options, healthier things. I'm still looking ways to eliminate certain foods that are bad that I'm consuming, taking some vitamin supplements. So it's like an ongoing thing for me. So
you were 220. What are you now?
I'm 220. I dropped 70 pounds. I went from 220 to 150. But a lot of people think it's the boxing, but it's mostly the diet. The diet is what changed me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you get into boxing before stand-up or stand-up first?
No. After stand-up.
After stand-up, okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comics that they liken boxing to stand-up. Like, I know Bill Burr and Louis have talked about how it's like a metaphor.
Oh, yeah, Louis actually works at the same gym that I train at.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Have you fought him?
In fact, Louis had the same trainer. So my trainer is Stephen Frank. and his brother is Raul Frank, and the hell. So Raul, you hear that? I'm not sure you could hear that knocking.
Nah.
So Raul Frank, Raul trains Louis.
Oh wow.
And Stephen Frank trains me. And actually, Raul Frank is a beast. He was number one for 3 years straight. Number one boxer in the world for 3 years straight.
That's Louis' guy.
That's Louis' guy, yeah.
Okay.
But Raul was trained by Stephen Frank.
Raul was trained by Stephen Frank. Okay.
Yeah, who trains me.
Okay, I got you. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick. And are you still doing it?
Oh yeah. I'm still doing it.
That's sick.
I had to keep it up until we filmed this movie.
Do you have a projection of when this thing, you're hoping for it to come out?
I'm hoping we're trying to raise the money as soon as possible, man. We've been saying that, but we're just like, if we could raise it sometime this year, we could shoot it like early start of next year, and then hopefully it could be in theaters by September 2021.
Sick, man. Tell me about Brian Kennedy. Who is he?
Brian Kennedy, he used to work at Caroline's. That's where I met him, and then he and I just clicked. We was talking about sketches, and then we went back and forth, and then we just started working on some sketches together. And then I showed him some films that I wrote, and he showed me some films he wrote, and then we just started writing films together.
And you did 9 of them.
Yeah. But before we got together, like I think I had already written like 2 or 3 films, but like thousands of short films, sketches.
Wow.
And we just decided to, put our thoughts together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that there's like a story of like an immigrant main character.
Yeah, well, most of the movies are circled around my culture, being about the Haitian culture. I feel like not enough stories are told about from the American Haitian point of view or the Haitian point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Some good stories. And I'm not saying they're not out there, so don't attack me or anybody else. I'm just saying I haven't seen much.
It's all love.
I would like to put more out there.
So for people who don't know much about the Haitian culture, how would you just describe it? And like, what are Haitian people like?
Very nice people, very hardworking, super smart. Will do whatever they can for you. The music is great. The food is so good. I'm not just saying that. I know everybody say that about their culture, but the food is really good. Yeah.
It is really good. And you're there every year? You go to Haiti every year?
No, not every year, but I'm planning on going next year sometime.
You're planning on going next year sometime. Okay.
But also we're shooting parts of the movie in Haiti, so I'm definitely going to go there to shoot that, whether it's this year or next year.
That's awesome. And but you came up in Brooklyn.
Yep, East New York.
And what was that like for you?
It was.
It's kind of rough area, no?
Yeah, when you grow up in a rough area, you don't look at it as rough. You just look at it as like, that neighborhood. It's my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And the people, so it's not rough in your eyes. A few incidents may happen, but it's like, things happen.
Do you feel connected to it?
Yeah. So that's my, that's where I call home.
Yeah, it's the same. Like I grew up on Staten Island, and Staten Island is notoriously racist.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of. There's not just Staten Island. There's Long Island. There's.
Yeah. No. There's a million places, but I'm just saying, like, because that's where I grew up. I'm Egyptian.
Mm-hmm.
But and I had my own experiences. But
people look at you. They're not like they're like, oh, you're Egyptian, right? They just look at you like, oh, you look like a cop.
No, I look Arab.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
Let me take a look.
No, I don't look. I got the dark, and I got the hook nose.
All right, all right.
I got the
Are they racist towards Arabs over there? To
everywhere.
Egyptians? Yeah.
What do you mean over there?
Long Island. No,
Oh,
Staten Island. Staten Island.
well, I'm on Long Island now.
Right.
But
You dealt with a lot of racism in Staten Island?
yeah, I mean, it's like nothing happened to me like directly. Like I heard you say a story on one of your other interviews where you were saying how like you went to a comedy club and then somebody told you that they already have like the black comic of the week. Is that right?
Yeah.
That really happened to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hear that. I'm younger than you, so like I don't know if that was more common. Like, you know, I don't know.
That was that actually happened in the late 90s.
That boggles my mind.
Like 90, I think 97 or 98 that happened. And yeah, I just went to the club trying to get on, and the guy was like, he's just like, yeah, we already have the black comic for the week.
Like this could sound ignorant on my end, but that boggles my mind that like so blatant. Like I understand racism exists, but you always think it's going to be more quiet than that. Just to your face like that. We already have our black comic of the week. That just sounds ridiculous. Even if somebody
ridiculous, but and you gotta understand.
And
it's yeah, as ridiculous as it sounds, but in those people's minds, they think they're doing the right thing. You know, they don't think there's nothing. Also, white people don't experience racism as much, right, or at all.
right.
So for him to say that he hasn't experienced any race or seen it, for him to, you know what I'm saying? So he's racist in his head. That makes sense. He's racist in his head. So when he encounters a black person trying to get in the club, oh yeah, we good. We got our black person for the week.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So no one ever told him, hey, you don't. That's not right to say. Or
yeah, that's, you know, shock. That's like, but
I was in shock actually. I was like, all right. My thing was, man, like, don't support places that don't let you in. Just like put your money at places that show you love. Right. So that's why I was able to walk out. I didn't curse them out. I'm like, all right, cool. I won't be coming back here anymore.
Yeah, you're a better man than me.
Yeah, but what to do? You're going to yell at them, fight, and
well, I think a lot of people would. That's a natural reaction, you know, for some people. But you're right; it's not the smartest thing, but that can elicit.
As long as you don't touch me or put your hands on me, you call me whatever you want.
Right.
Peace.
But that's a tough thing that you experienced when you asked me, did I ever deal with racism? Like I've dealt with, like, for example, girlfriends' parents telling my girlfriend, like, yeah, no, you're not dating an Egyptian.
Right?
Yeah.
Your girlfriend now?
No, my girl now, she's Egyptian.
Okay.
So we're a pair, but I've been with people who are not my culture, and their parents have been like, you're not. He's Arab or he's whatever. They don't, if it just sounds like it's Arab, they'll be like, no, you're not. What's he going to hit you? Is he going to, like, you know what I mean? Whatever they have in their head of what my culture is. So, you know, and then also when you're younger, I was, you know, all my friends were white, and I don't like demonizing like white people. Like I don't like demonizing any sort of like entire groups, but
you're just as guilty as them when you do that.
Right, exactly. But, you know, I have been in, like, as I got older and I hung out when I was younger, I was more naive to things. And then as I got older and I would hang out in my friends' houses on Staten Island, I would hear like their parents say things like they didn't know I was hearing it. It was like in another room, and they would say like racist things.
Like what was the craziest thing you heard?
I mean, like white people using the N-word, you know, stuff like that. And
towards you?
No, not towards me, but it did tell me. I always knew that I was like different than these white. So I was like, because it's a heavy like Irish Italian thing. I was the only Egyptian in my neighborhood, so and I always felt a little different, but it wasn't like in my face, like where people curse me out or anything like that. So, but it made me feel like, okay, so I don't know what they're saying about me, behind my back, but I'm not like them. So I had an insecurity, you know what I mean? And then as I got older and I was in college and I started dating people who are not my culture, and then they would straight tell me like, yeah, my parents are not cool with this, sorry, my dad is old school. He's not cool with me dating, an Egyptian person or whatever, or an Arab or a Muslim, and I'm not Muslim even, but, whatever, they don't know. So it's just this unknown thing. They're just like, yeah, no. And I had another person who, she showed her mom a picture of me and her, and her mom's response was, "This is your boyfriend?" And she was like, "Yeah." And her mom was like, "That's not white." About me. She was like, "That's not white. That, not even he."
Right.
She said, "That's not white." So, it's not.
Your parents didn't raise you like that neither, right? Your parents like only Egyptians. Your parents didn't say that, right?
No, my parents are not only Egyptian. I have my brothers and sisters who are like, I have my, how many of my sisters? Two of my sisters who are married to non-Egyptians, and one of my brothers who's married to a non-Egyptian. Sorry, two of my brothers who are with non-Egyptians. So and then I have a couple of my cousins too, as well. My cousin,
my parents, they, well, it's gonna sound crazy. My parents didn't raise us as black kids at first. They raised us as hard workers, be hard workers. So I remember when I didn't know I was black until like I'll tell you, well, my mother sent me and my brother to like an all Catholic school, and it was a Catholic Catholic school, but all white school, and we was probably the only black kids in the school. But every day we got bullied, we got picked on, right? And I didn't know why. I was like in the second grade, and then when we got but the principal used to write us up, and never the other kids. So my mother used to always get these notes about that we're messing up, we're starting fights, and my mother used to say, "Why you do that? Why you start fights for?" And we're like, "Ma, it's not us. Is they picking on us?" But my mother thought, it's a Catholic school. It's like two of the best things: is school and is religion.
Yeah.
It's like, so like that school don't want no trouble. They just want to teach God, and you learn your work, your work. So she went to the school one day, and she went with us to try to figure out what's going on. There was some chairs here, and we sat on the chairs, and there was a desk to sign in. So we were sitting on chairs. My mother got up to go sign, and she went to go sign the I guess the paper to, that you coming in to speak to a principal. She turns around, walked back to sit with us. As she turned around, she looked and saw the secretary. She picked up the pen with a napkin and threw it in the garbage. And then my mother go, "Why you do that?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, the pen don't work." So my mother goes to the garbage to pick up the pen. I was like, "Oh, what you doing going to the garbage for?" And she starts to scribble on the paper. And she goes, "It worked." And the lady was like, "Oh, I guess it started working." My mother turned to us and she just went like this, like, "Let's go." And so we thought we was in trouble, right? So we walking home. I think we lived like about 5 or 6 blocks from the school, walking home. My mother was kind of in the front. Me and my brothers was trailing in the back. And me and my brothers was going back and forth about, "Yo, I didn't do nothing to the pen. Like, I only used, was going like, I ain't touched the pen." We thought it was something with the pen. We got in trouble. But we was always getting in trouble for little things. And so it's like, I was like, I use pencils. I don't even know about pens. And so my older brother, Fres, he had the guts courage enough to ask my mom, "Hey, Mom, what happened?" And my mother turned to him, and she didn't, again, no words. She just went like this, the back of her hand, and she went like this.
Oh, wow.
Right? Now, we didn't know what that meant. So we go, I think my little brother was like, "I took a shower today." I was like, "I took a shower too." Like, I don't think I'm dirty. But my older brother knew what that meant. And my older brother turned to us and he goes, "Oh, no, no. It's because we're black." And I go, "We're black? How?" Like, that's all I said. Like, I didn't know it was like, that's,
Yeah, you just
and
didn't.
now I thought they used to call us names, right? I didn't know what their names meant. One of the names they used to call me was Blackie. Ill, here come Blackie, ill. And I thought it was because of this. My fingernail, I'm not sure you can see, is black.
You got a black line.
Yeah. So, but it was way blacker. The fingernail was like mostly black when I was younger. And so I used to put it in my hand like this so no one could see it. And still they're like, they go black. I'm like, how can they see my finger?
Oh
It's
my
in
God.
my fist.
Yeah.
And they used to probably say the N-word, but I also didn't know what that meant, But I knew Blackie, but I thought they was talking about this.
You had innocence, man.
Yeah, so come to find out I'm black.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's, and how old were you when this all happened?
I was in the second grade. How old were you in second grade? I just remember that because I know when my mother took us out of that school and she put us in public school, and that's the grade I started in.
That's so young. That's like, I mean, you would think that like you should learn, I guess, of your own culture in a positive way, not in a negative way. If something is going to you're going to be awakened to something, like you didn't know you were black, and then you're learning of like.
Well, because my parents, their thing was you can't use the black card. You can't just, their thing is work hard.
Right.
Only reason if you don't get the job is because you didn't work hard. The only reason if you didn't pass is because you didn't work hard. Only reason because you didn't get a promotion is because you didn't work hard. That was their thing, not because you're black.
Well, that's like an immigrant thing. That's like an immigrant state of mind.
They were aware of being black, but they also were aware of black people making great accomplishments, inventing things, becoming doctors, becoming scientists.
Right.
But they knew that you have to work hard.
And your culture is strict, right? The Haitian culture is strict, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mother used to tell us, if you was white, that would be enough. But you have to work way harder.
Yeah.
Or my dad I think my dad said that, but they both used to say that every now and then. If you was white, that would be enough. But you have to work harder. I'm like, but I got an A.
Right.
Where's the plus? I don't see plus.
Right. That's right. Yeah, I grew up hearing the same thing from my dad. Yeah, that's I think an immigrant way of thinking,
Yeah.
Not to say people who are born here don't work hard, but I mean, I'm familiar with that.
Well, most immigrants, they come here because of that American dream, because of that, oh, you go there, you work hard, and you can have that life, because in that country or their country, no matter how hard you work, there's no opportunity. But at least you come here, it's not guaranteed, but if you really, really work hard, there's a small chance for great opportunity.
Which makes coming here worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the main thing is you have to work hard.
But the main thing is you have to work hard. And I feel like you're an exemplar of that, man. You're killing it. You're working hard. How many nights a week do you work?
None.
Well, I mean, given before the pandemic.
Before, oh yeah, I was working every night, 2 or 3 shows a night. Wow. It was nothing. Yeah, but it was if you think about it, it's you would do average 20 minutes per show. And you do 3-4 shows. That's still nothing compared to someone who works a 9 to 5, 8 hours a day at a place they don't want to be.
Right. I mean, everything's got its pros and cons, but it's still not a cakewalk. I mean, you're writing, you're doing your other projects, and you're trying to write well too. You're trying to do good jokes. I mean, there's a lot of comics that, they're not as good as you, and I'm sure that takes a lot of hard work on your
And there's a lot of comics who's way better than me.
Right. You're always, no matter what I say, you're always going to come back with the most humble response. So that's awesome. I got another question for you. I know I'm you must be so tired, but something I wanted to ask you. How do you want to be, You remember Don Rickles
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember him.
or Carl Reiner or any of these older people?
No, I know Carl Line.
Richard Pryor's too easy, but like
Okay.
I'm talking about I'm trying to think of like an old man. Don Rickles looked like an old man. So when you're an old man and then you eventually pass away, how do you want to be remembered specifically? What's a nice sentence that you would like somebody to say about you?
That he paid his bills on time.
And do you pay your bills on time?
Yeah, I do my best.
Somebody keeps knocking at your door.
I know. I hope that's not the landlord. It's not the first. Well, first pass.
That old Eddie Murphy, what was it called when he was on SNL and the landlord kept coming?
Oh, Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
Yeah, Mr. Ryan, that was hilarious.
Eddie's oh man, he's the best.
Yeah.
One of the best.
Will, you were the man. I really can't thank you enough for being here. I mean, really, this podcast, again, it's called Healers and Headliners. It's a video podcast, and it really was meant to bring people like you who work hard at producing an amazing product, put it out there to make people's lives better, and that's what you do. This guy is on stage every single night, telling jokes, making people like cry from laughter. If you have not seen Wil Sylvince, please go see him. Any plugs besides I Am Maurice? So he's coming out with a movie, I Am Maurice. There's a GoFundMe, gofundme.com/I Am Maurice. And you'll be able to see the link that I'm going to provide for you. And any other plugs that I'm missing?
That's about it, man. Thanks a lot for having me on the show. Sorry it's not as funny as people thought it was going to be, but
no, you're the man. I'm so glad that we got this opportunity, and I hope you'll come back in the future.
Yeah, hell yeah, I'll come back.
All right, cool, man. So it's good having you, and then we'll talk again soon. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you again next episode. All right, later.
Later.